Hi everyone, Jorge here, and today I want to share with y'all a reality check around an argument that you can often hear these days. And that is the argument about the importance of embracing both masculine and feminine parts within ourselves. I want to talk about why it is complete BS. So you can come across this argument in the coaching field, in the field of spirituality, books, videos dedicated to the topic of spirituality. You can come across it in the pop psychology, this kind of psychology addressed to the general public. And I heard a lot of it over the last years, both in America and in Russia, which gives you an idea about how popular that argument is. And for me, it always sounded like BS, not only because it enforced this binary gender system, like you can only be male or female, and it left out a lot of folks who are non-gender conforming. But it also sounded like bullshit to me because I researched gender and sexuality a lot for my book. And contextualizing that research with my personal experience over the years, I became very acutely aware of our social conditioning around gender, and particularly gender stereotypes. So when people start preaching to me about the importance of embracing both masculine and feminine parts of ourselves, I ask them, say more. So how do you speak to us to bullshit and stay civil? You say, okay, say more. So you put on, this nice American face and you encourage people to say more. And so then people tell me, so here's the thing, Jorge, if you're a man, then it's really important that you also embrace those female things like empathy and vulnerability and tenderness and affection. And if you're a woman, it's also important that you embrace and accept and practice, masculine things like courage and resolve and confidence and sense of agency. And so I'm like, okay, so do you think empathy has a vagina? And people are like, I'm sorry, Jorge. So I'm like, why do you think that empathy is female? Or does courage have a penis? Like, who told you and when that courage is a male thing? And then people answer, Jorge, but that's how men and women have traditionally been for centuries. And I say, that is the exact problem. Because through this rhetoric, what you do is you in fact operate on gender stereotypes and thus you reinforce them. In fact, my empathy as a man has nothing to do with the feminine and nothing to do with the masculine. It has to do with my values, with my self-awareness, with my emotional literacy, with my spirituality. But the culture sees a man who practices tenderness or vulnerability or empathy, or a woman who operationalizes confidence, courage, or strength in her life, the culture tells them something is wrong with you. You don't fit the mold. And so instead of thinking, thinking outside the box, and thinking and living outside of our gender straitjackets imposed by the culture, I think my intention as a man is to get rid of those straitjackets altogether. Because it's people like me, it's men who created patriarchy and gender oppression, and so it's my historical responsibility to fix it, to contribute to fixing it. It's not the job and responsibility of women marching down the streets for their rights. It's my responsibility as someone holding unearned privilege in this unequal system. And so what I encourage everybody around me to do is just embrace their humanity fully, without labeling certain aspects of it masculine or feminine. Because this attribution is arbitrary and it has nothing to do with the reality of who we are, and everything to do with the history of gender oppression and unequal, unfair distribution of power in society. And, in particular, when I hear for an umpteenth time this argument that women are on average more empathetic than men, and therefore empathy is more a feminine thing, I researched empathy, the majority of my research revolved around empathy because I'm an artist, and so empathy is something that I really have to be good at when I do my work. And so I researched it over the years a lot and deeply, from different aspects, including social science and psychology and neurobiology. And so when today I hear this argument that women are on average more empathetic than men, I call bullshit. Because no, even in my personal experience, I haven't seen women to be any more empathetic than men. And evidence-based research shows that empathy skills don't correlate with gender at all. Just like empathy skills don't correlate with the presence or the nature of past trauma. What empathy skills do correlate with is your level of self-awareness, your tolerance for discomfort and vulnerability, and your spirituality, which is how deep you hold the belief that all people are connected to one another by a power greater than us, and that our connection to one another and this power is rooted in love and kindness. So these are the factors that predict your capacity for empathy or your scale of empathy, and any of that has nothing to do with gender. And so if you're really honest and you think critically, you can look at any trait or skill that is traditionally viewed as masculine or feminine and just call bullshit on its gender attribution. So the takeaway message here is don't embrace the masculine or the feminine. Embrace the human within yourself. Operationalize your humanity. Be free to be who you are. Be free to listen to your heart. Trust your heart when it tells you how to live your life. And call bullshit. Just call bullshit on any rhetoric that reinforces oppression. No matter how spiritual or eloquent it looks on the surface, and regardless of the intention it's being employed with. So I do hope you take this message constructively. Please, if you do have comments or questions, do post them in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with y'all. And if you find this video insightful, inspiring, or helpful, don't hesitate to share it with your friends. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time on Her Yours YouTube channel. Keep telling the truth. Be brave, show up, stay curious, and take care, guys. Bye.